The coast of the Maritimes, used for recreation and livelihood and home to a vast array of plants and animals. In order to help us plan our activities around this environment, some important mapping work is being done. One of those working on such a project is Dr. Tim Webster, a research scientist with Nova Scotia Community College. So Tim, thank you very much for coming out today. I really appreciate this.
My pleasure, Kalin.
And so we're here at Cow Bay, Nova Scotia, and this is actually pretty close to a site you've actually been doing some of your research work around. Can you tell us about that research?
Sure. In 2016, we actually flew this with an aircraft and collected topo-bathymetric lidar, which uses a laser system on board an aircraft to survey both the land elevation and under the water. So we got to about 15 meters water depth here. At the same time, we're capturing aerial photographs. So that project was funded by a combination of the Offshore Ocean Energy Research Association and the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers. So part of our objective was to map the shoreline itself, what the composition was. It's all about protecting that tidal inlet off to our left here.
So you get out here, you gather the data, and then what, back to Middleton for processing in the lab?
That's right. Our lab is at the NSCC in Middleton, and we've got some fairly strong computing capabilities there, so the data gets processed and then eventually brought into a geographic information system where we can visualize, shade the data from different angles to enhance the topographic features, and then we develop these hydrodynamic models that simulate the movement of water and in some cases storm surge and sea level rise.
And I've seen some of these visualizations, some of these maps as well, and they're a nice 3D display.
That's right. So we collect all these data in 3D and so forth, and then oftentimes we produce a report on 2D or look on monitors in 2 dimensions. So we started getting into virtual reality and augmented reality. So we have the HoloLens where we can project a hologram or put on the full headset and then fully immerse yourself in the data set. It's quite informative.
And what's the hope for the applications for this type of research?
It's all about really understanding our coastal zone and being able to better manage it, both from risk of contaminants, from risk of pollution on shore, for economic development, for aquaculture development, for example. And of course, with climate change being a coastal province, we're probably going to be most vulnerable to things like sea level rise. So
right.
Protection of our infrastructure and predicting what could be flooded in the future as sea level rises.
Now, I have to ask this as a meteorologist, of course. Does the weather impact your research out here on the side?
We watch the weather perhaps even more than you do, Kalin.
That'd be something.
You know, it's a fair weather sensor.
Yeah.
So a day like today would be a great day to fly, a little bit of wind, but because we are driving a laser through the water column, the water needs to be clear.
And so when will your operations start again then?
We hope to start in probably June to July time frame. That gives us time to try to set up the projects, get the funding in place. It's typically that's our best water clarity conditions with respect to, you know, storm events and so forth. So July is sort of the sweet spot for water clarity and great time to be in the field.
Yeah, excellent. Well, Tim, I wish you the best of that. And once again, thank you for coming out and talking to me today.
My pleasure, Kalin, anytime.